Good evening, class. My name is Sabrina Henwood, and this is my persuasive speech on the dangers of childhood obesity. This is my PowerPoint, and these are my notes. If you take a look around, it won't be surprising to see that most of the children in our nation are struggling with a weight issue. Childhood obesity has become a fast-growing epidemic in all of America, and it needs to be stopped. And it's not going to be stopped unless we do something about it. 1 in 3 children in all of America will grow up obese. And I'm not talking about a little overweight or having a little chub on them. I'm talking morbidly obese. That means 20% of all children in America will have to worry about growing up with chronic illnesses associated with this disease, such as strokes, heart disease, high blood pressure, sleep apnea. Ultimately, it will lead to their deaths. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how do I contribute to this problem? I don't have children. And those of you that do have children, a lot of you may be saying, I can't control what they do all the time. They're going to choose what they want to do. This is where the problem lies. We as a nation have become one that points fingers instead of take accountability for our role in all of our children's lives. They say it takes a village. I don't believe we're doing that with our children, especially in regards to this. One of the main problems that contributes to childhood obesity is food choices. As far as I'm concerned, convenience should be America's middle name. Nowadays, it's so easy to get wrapped up in busy lifestyles, especially when you have kids. A lot of parents, especially with the economy being the way that it is, are both working, which leaves the children home alone, sometimes hours a day, leaving them to have to choose their own food choices. And if parents aren't being proactive in teaching their children healthy options versus going for chips and cookies and sugary beverages, they're always going to want to opt for the unhealthy choice. There's also too much technology revolving around food. Once upon a time, if a family wanted to order a pizza for dinner, you would have to go pick up a phone book first off. You'd have to actually call the place and then wait for the pizza to be delivered. Now they literally have apps where you can type in what you want and they'll just deliver it to your door. In my opinion, this is unacceptable. Adults are doing this all of the time. Why would we not expect our children to catch on to this? And this is exactly what is happening. This brings me to my next point, which is the amount of physical activity that our children are engaging in. It's almost slim to none. In the 1980s, going into the early 90s, you would drive down the street and look in the park, even just look down the sidewalk, and there'd be kids riding their bikes and playing outside all of the time. Now it's become desolate. Parks are rarely ever consumed with kids anymore. Why is this? Because of the advancing technology. Technology has advanced tenfold since the 1980s in ways that we couldn't even possibly imagine. Unfortunately, we as a nation are taking the benefits of technology and using them negatively. We're using them for convenience, to make things easier, to make things faster. And sometimes that's not the best way to go about it. According to the Center for Disease Control, physical activity is vital to energy balance. It goes without saying that the more calories you consume, the more you'll have to burn in order to keep a healthy weight. Nowadays, what do you see adults and children doing all of the time? You go to a grocery store, you go even to the post office, everybody's staring at their cell phones. everybody's staring at their cell phones instead of engaging in physical activity, or better yet, engaging with each other. It's become unacceptable, and kids are quickly catching on to this. I've heard stories of parents giving children young as 5 years old cell phones. What does a 5-year-old need a cell phone for? Besides to play games and again be sitting and not engaging in physical activity. This is also aiding in problem. The chart clearly spells out how much time is spent engaging in social media, TV, cell phones, and whatnot, and the amount of weight that they're gaining from the amount of time that they're spending on social media or TV for that matter. There's also a statistic on advertising. It is estimated that children ages 2 to 7 will spend 30 hours a year watching advertisements that are directly linked to unhealthy food choices. Of course, kids are going to read that like a sponge and want to eat those kinds of foods because there's benefits to them. Especially McDonald's Happy Meals. They would always promote a special toy for a specific meal that they would get. But of course, the meal wasn't apples and hard-boiled eggs. It was cheeseburgers and French fries and sugary beverages and stuff that our kids really shouldn't be consuming. Perhaps sometimes, but definitely not all the time. And it's showing that this is not what's happening. Also with the advertisements, it's making kids not want to engage in physical activity again because they want to be sucked into this. I propose that in order to make this go away, there should be a tax on junk food versus a tax on healthy food. Think about it. You go to the grocery store and you want to pick up a healthy meal to cook for your family at home. It's going to cost you so much more than if you go to Little Caesars and get a pizza and breadsticks for $8. This is unacceptable. How are we going to promote health in this nation if this nation can't even afford it? How are we responsible? Parents are the number one influence in their children's lives. If their children see them constantly sitting in front of a TV and eating bad snacks and not taking care of themselves, the children are going to want to do that too. They suck up everything like a sponge, and they're easily influenced by what their parents are doing and others around them. They're going to mock that. In this picture, you can see the difference. Here's a healthy family engaging in a bike ride and getting together and doing it as a family, whereas this family, they're just sitting and watching TV, which too many people consider that to be quality time. I disagree. I think quality time should be about bonding and learning about each other, not learning about some fictional character on a TV screen. This is where the problem lies. We as a nation are becoming so consumed with convenience and what's easy instead of making the effort for our children. It's unacceptable. In conclusion, I propose that we have a tax on junk food, and we need to start being more proactive in our own lives so that we can positively influence our children's lives. Because let's face it, the children are our future, as Whitney Houston would have quoted. But it's very true, and we are not doing what's necessary to ensure that our children are growing up safe and healthy. We need to make a stand and start making better choices for ourselves so that we can make better choices for our nation's youth. I'm Sabrina Henwood. Thank you very much.